Hello, hi, my name's Mo, and I thought today I would do a video just talking about why ContraPoints video Cringe was so important to me. I usually do videos that are quite heavily scripted because I have ADHD and otherwise my brain is just like, it goes all over the place and it's quite difficult to follow. But I thought I'd do something different today and I'd have a real and honest chat. So for those of you who don't know and who haven't watched ContraPoints video Cringe, if you haven't, I suggest that you do because in my humble opinion, I think it is brilliant. Her video goes into cringe culture, I guess, and just examining why we cringe at certain things and the mentality behind that. The thing that kind of really, I guess, had the most impact on me was when she went into in-group cringe, which is when you cringe at a member of your own group. This is usually because you feel like they're making you look bad, they're giving your group a bad name. For the most part, it probably comes from a place of internalized homophobia or transphobia or whatever specific group you belong to. The reason this really kind of meant a lot to me was because I'm a non-binary trans person and oh god, we don't look good in the media, and it's not even particularly our fault a lot of the time, it's just because we're such an easy target and we're easy to laugh at, we're easy to make fun of, and apparently we live in a world where we like to put others down for expressing who they are. But anyway, because of this, I definitely deal with a lot of internalized stuff in my brain. It took me way too long to come out as non-binary because I didn't think it was real. To be fair, it wasn't even that I didn't think it was real, it was that I didn't think it was real for me. It was like my brain wouldn't allow me to identify as that because I was like, no, everyone is gonna think you're mental. And you know what? A lot of people probably do. But who cares? Fuck them anyway. I deal with so much of this internalized envy phobia. I don't know, I hate that word. I think it sounds stupid. And see, that's probably, you know, internalized shit myself. I don't mind saying homophobic, so why do I have a problem saying envy phobic? Probably because I don't think we're valid enough to be hated on. Like, how can you hate on a group that doesn't exist? That's what my brain does. And I hate it. And I know it's terrible. And I really want to stop. I really want to stop. But I can't. I can't stop my brain from thinking these stuff. And I'll see another non-binary person who perhaps doesn't express themselves in an androgynous way, and my brain will cringe, you know? I'll be like, oh, why aren't they presenting, you know, androgynously? How can they feel comfortable presenting feminine? And then my brain will do all this really awful stuff where it will be like, nah, that's not valid, right? And I hate it, I really hate it, because I know it's not true and I'm really trying to stop it. But yeah, I can't. I'm definitely getting better, but it's actually really difficult and nobody talks about it. Everyone online appears to be really great and accepting. They're just like, oh yeah, cool, you know, you're non-binary and you're feminine, that's great, and of course it is. I 100% agree. But no one's talking about how sometimes our brains are shit. Even though we know it's wrong, we can't help it. And I felt so alone in that. I felt really shit. I thought I was horrible. I was like, why am I like this? Why do I have these horrible thoughts, you know? Watching ContraPoints video, it honestly was like a switch had just been flicked in my brain, and I was like, it's okay. It's okay that your brain is doing this because you know it's wrong. You know it's wrong and you're trying to change it. A lot of the people that I respond to or criticise are people who vocalise these opinions, there are people who believe these things. And I just felt like such a hypocrite. I was like, how can you be criticising these people when in your brain, you know, you're thinking those things too? And Natalie's video just made me realise it's okay. I am not a hypocrite. I know it's wrong to judge somebody for how they present, to, you know, think that you know their identity better than they do. I can't help what my brain thinks. But the thing is, these thoughts in my brain, they're not representative of what I actually believe. Of course I don't believe that, you know, if you're a feminine non-binary person, you're not valid. Of course I don't believe that. You can express yourself however the fuck you want. This is something I have to work through. No one else can really change this. This is my brain, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, seeing Natalie, Queen ContraPoints, one of the creators that I look up to the most, when you see somebody through the internet, you kind of idolise them. In your brain, you put them on a pedestal. I guess it's the whole parasocial relationship thing, or just, I don't know, it's just how social media works. It's probably quite unhealthy, but you know, that's just how human psyche works. So I guess in my mind, ContraPoints was like on this pedestal, and then to hear her vocalise everything that I think in my brain all the time was like, fuck. I think on the left we sort of have this rather toxic mentality where it's like, you can't have these thoughts, and if you do, you can't speak about them because they're bad, and if you're thinking them, you're a bad person. But that's not the case. It's just not. I mean, if I was going about and I was vocalising these thoughts in my head and I was being like, oh, look at you, you're a non-binary person, but like, you just present as a woman, you're not valid, you're just a, you know, you're a trender, then obviously, colossal dickhead. But I'm not doing that, because although my brain's thinking these things, I don't believe that. I know it's shit, but you know, just because you know something's awful, it doesn't mean that you can necessarily stop yourself from thinking that. It's sort of like when you're having an argument with someone you love, and in your head, you're thinking all these really horrible things. You're thinking, oh, I hate them so much, when obviously you don't hate them. You love them, but your brain's doing that anyway. That's kind of how I see it. But nobody's talking about it. And I think that's an issue, because if somebody feels alone in these thoughts and they're just left with all these thoughts in their brain, then what do you think's going to happen? They have a much higher chance of believing these thoughts, you know? They have a much higher chance of going down this path where they throw other people from their community under the bus because they feel shit and they want to feel better, I guess, because, I mean, that is it. That's why my brain does those things. You know, when I see a non-passing trans person or a non-binary person who doesn't present androgynously enough, I'm not thinking, oh, they're making me look bad, they're such a trender, because I actually have a valid reason to think that. I'm thinking that because I'm an insecure little piece of shit and I'm projecting my insecurities onto them, you know? They're not making me look bad. They're just doing their thing. They're living their life. They're not affecting me. I want to be seen as legit, right? And, you know, my dysphoria just, it makes my brain just do stupid stuff, right? You know, Fuck. I guess it goes back to that thing, you know, I want cis people for the most part, but also trans people too, to not see me as some teenager who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. I don't want to be seen as someone who, you know, is just following a trend because, you know, I want those woke points. I don't want to be seen like that, so I project, and it's very unhealthy. I was talking to a trans woman about this the other day, and she kind of said she doesn't watch content like this anymore because it doesn't affect her. Like, she's past that, you know? If she sees a non-passing trans person, she doesn't care. And I was like, fuck. I guess I really want to get to this place where I don't care. Where I just let people do what they want without thinking shitty things. I think if you look through some of my videos, you'll probably be able to see aspects of this coming through, to be honest. Because I've definitely said some things that, I mean, they're not problematic or anything, but if you actually kind of really analyse what I'm saying, you can definitely see there's some self-hatred in there, right? There's some projection onto people who don't fit my ideal. But who should fit my ideal? No one. Because that's bullshit. I see all this criticism towards ContraPoints for being, I don't know, true scum or saying problematic things, and I just think it's really unfair and kind of bullshit because it's such a misrepresentation of what she actually believes. I really appreciated that video so much because it made me realise I am not the only person who struggles with this. I am not a shit person. I'm just someone who needs to work through their issues. If I'm honest, there's probably even some jealousy in there, right? I'm jealous that they don't care. Because I care. I care way too much. I can't wear so many clothes that I would want to wear. But I can't because as soon as I put them on, my brain goes, fuck you. Take that right off. You piece of shit. You look like a fucking girl. No one is going to take you seriously if you wear that. And then I'm like, oh, fuck man, you're right. And then I take it off. At the moment, the only clothes I can wear are like 2 sizes too big. Because if I wear anything tighter, I'm like, I feel like I can't even say it, you know? Dysphoria makes you think shit that you don't actually believe. I think if I was further on in my transition, if I'd had top surgery, if people didn't care, I think if people didn't care, I wouldn't feel this way. I haven't talked about it on here before, but I can't bind. I have 2 lung problems. If I wear a binder, I can't breathe, you know? It's really bad, so I don't wear binders. And that makes me feel really, I guess, invalid, you know? I'm like, if I was properly trans, I would wear the binder. Who cares if I can't breathe? Who cares if, you know, I get an asthma attack and, you know, who cares? I'd push through that. So I guess when I see someone who's not wearing a binder, who doesn't have lung conditions, I'm like, oh, what a fake, you know? It's so shit. So I really appreciate ContraPoints for making this video because I think it could really help a lot of people, and I'm really surprised that no one's been talking about it. Well, I mean, lots of people have been talking about it, but no one's been talking about it like this, you know? I haven't seen anybody say what I've been thinking, and I don't know whether that's because not many people think shitty thoughts like that, or whether it's because they're just too scared to come out and be like, yeah, I've dealt with in-group cringe. I hate myself for thinking these things. I hate it. I hate it so much because being kind is one of the things that's the most important to me. And these thoughts, they're not kind. They're the thoughts an arsehole has. And I think ContraPoints makes a really good point. A lot of the top trans creators are people that, you know, they poke fun at other trans people. I mean, I guess whether or not you think they're actually trans, that's debatable. Some of them might not be. Some of them might be confused. Some of them might be figuring themselves out. But regardless of that, what gives you the right to shit on them for their appearance, how they present themselves? That's not helping anybody. So yeah, I think that's kind of all I really wanted to say in this video. I think ContraPoints does not get half the credit that she should, because I thought this video was absolutely amazing and I really appreciated it. I think a lot of the criticism against it was rubbish. I think a lot of people completely misinterpreted the point of the video, and maybe that's because they don't deal with these thoughts, you know? But for me, I found it incredibly reassuring. So yeah, I guess that's all I really wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit kind of depressing. Thank you to Natalie for making this video. I'm sure it meant a great deal to a lot more people than just me, but yeah. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a good day. Stay safe. See ya.